broke yesterday, we had to check in with Aaron Katersky, ABC News correspondent. This is a classic Aaron Katersky story. Aaron, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Well, good morning.
All right, so what did we learn yesterday about the feds and their investigation into Michael Cohen?
Well, we've learned again the depths of this investigation and how, this raid on his properties that revealed it publicly didn't just come out of nowhere. We knew that the feds had been looking at his emails. Now we know they were also tracking his phone calls. They were in real time understanding who was calling him and what phone numbers he was calling. They were not listening to the substance of the conversations, but they at least were getting a sense, all in real time, of who he was talking to by phone.
Do we know when this started and when it ended?
We don't know when it started. It preceded the raid, and that is in line with them looking at his emails, too, which I think is probably more invasive than just tracking the metadata of his phone calls. But and we don't know when it ended or if it ended, and I think that's why the president's lawyers were alarmed when, after the raid on Cohen's properties, the president and Cohen spoke by phone. At the time, sources said the president's lawyers were concerned about that phone call because they thought there may have been a wiretap. Now, there is not a wiretap. They're not listening to this, to the conversations themselves. But they have had a sense over the, who knows, weeks, months, of who Michael Cohen was talking to, and that could be useful in building the criminal case.
Yeah, well, but it was phone, it was text, it was email, so they just knew he was texting somebody, and the phone numbers, they didn't know what was in those texts or those phone numbers.
That's right. They weren't looking at those, but they were looking at the emails. So, they had a lot of information about Michael Cohen well in advance of a raid to go to a judge and say, hey, judge, we think a crime's being committed here, and we'd like to go see some evidence before it's somehow disposed of. And if you listen to just in the instance of the Stormy Daniels payment, her attorney Michael Avenatti has been saying that he has evidence that contradicts Rudy Giuliani's claim that this was not campaign related, that this was all personal. And we're not sure whether the feds may now have similar evidence. Right. Was Cohen talking to Stormy Daniels' previous attorneys? When were those phone calls happening? They don't know the substance of those calls, but maybe they correlate to certain emails. And you can begin to see how the feds are building their case against Cohen.
Stay tuned. Aaron Katersky, thanks. Have a good weekend.
You too, pal. See ya.
6:50.